Alright, heading into today, we're going to be looking at AXIZ Wave versus AWG. So KKK from AXIZ Wave is going to be hunting first. We're on Red Church for our round 1 map. And our first two survivor bands are going to be the Seer as well as Antiquarian. Now, both of these are very good to get out of the way early on. You don't want to see a Seer, you absolutely don't want to see an Antiquarian, especially on a map like Red Church. You can make great use of those walls in order to get as many stuns as possible. But for our first two picks from AWG, we're going to see the Coordinator as well as the Psychologist. So both pretty tanky characters, very good at containment. Psychologist able to take 3 hits, so a very again, tanky character in that sense. We've got Wildling as our next band, and first officer to round us off, we are going to go with the Dancer here. And for our final pick from AWG, we will see the Mercenary. Now, once again, we are working with triple global ban in subsequent rounds, so the Coordinator, Psychologist, and the Dancer will all be locked out for every round going forward. Now, Dancer being part of those global bans is a little bit interesting to me. AWG Kairu is known for playing Dancer, very well known for playing Dancer. So having that Dancer taken off the table going into round 2, going up to round 3, it's a little bit scary. It's a little bit, obviously, there's other containment characters that can come into play. There's plenty of other characters that Kairu can play, but having the kind of, I would say, most dangerous pick coming out first here it's bold. It's a bold strategy, but it's something that I feel like it can either work very well in their favor or it can come back to bite them later. But we will see that Opera Singer coming out from KKK. A little bit surprised to not see the Ivy coming out first, but Opera Singer, Ivy, one of them will inevitably get banned in the next round. Opera Singer, obviously very strong, is very strong on maps like Red Church. They're very small, they're very easy for her to control, and she can really be everywhere at once with her speed and with her shadow decoy ability. Opera Singer speaks for herself. We will go with a pretty average cross formation here. We've got Psychologist in the center, kind of baiting that first chase, Dancer in the area to provide support with her boxes, Mercenary as well, spawning near the center there, and we're going to have Coordinator up at the shack. So not a bad starting lineup here, not a bad start as well heading into this first round. And very excited to see how these two teams match up against each other. Now we will see Trump Card and Detention and Blink being carried on Opera Singer, pretty average Persona Web as well as straight there. Flywheel on Dancer. It looks like all members of the team do have Borrowed Time. I kind of would have expected to see maybe no Borrowed Time and a double kiting build, maybe a secondary Tide Turner as well, but we're going pretty standard here. Full Borrowed Time, Flywheel on Dancer, and Broken Windows on both the Coordinator and the Psychologist. Mercenary, of course, is carrying Tide Turner, as mercenaries do. But heading in, we will see Opera Singer just getting right away, going for those dashes, trying to catch up to where we know Psychologist is. And it does look like Psychologist, Batoru on Psychologist, heading towards the back half of the map here. A little bit towards the shack. We're going to just go ahead, drop that pallet right away, slow KKK down in any way possible. Heading over to the double pallet in the back corner here. Oh, a little bit of mind gaming there with that pallet as well. And a little bit of mind gaming here with the heavy hit, but unfortunately Batoru just not in the area anymore, getting as much distance as possible. It looks like we will be taking our first hit here. That will be eaten by the Psychologist's Stress, and she can take 2 more hits after this. So heading into the boxes here, dropped by Dancer, but it looks like we may be switching targets entirely, just heading over straight to Dancer. We still have 2 boxes in play. Those are both going to be dropped over at this pallet. Oh, and the fast box was broken first. Slow box still in play, while KKK is just forced to take that pallet hit. Very nicely done here from AWG Survivors. Now, this does kind of put a damper on decoding progress, at least for now, because Dancer Cypher was interrupted. But, oh, a little bit of a mistiming on that flywheel, and we will see that first hit go through. Opera Singer now at half presence, so she does have a little bit more mobility. Oh, and unfortunately, Dancer just getting caught in a corner there. Nowhere to go, and will be going down. Now, Blink is still active. That slow box is going to slow things down just a little bit, but honestly not the biggest deal in the world. Coordinator has completed her Cypher though, so that does mean that Mercenary can come in for the rescue. Coordinator can rotate back to that Cypher, and it looks like that's exactly the plan. You can see Mercenary coming in the bottom corner there. We are actually going to keep some of the pallets here intact, so very, kind of wanting to keep the survivors caught in this area by not breaking that pallet. We will get that rescue there from Mercenary. Immediate hit, but I do believe that was before half, so Dancer does have another chair to sit on. We will just go ahead and get ourselves to full presence here, taking the extra hits on Tide Turner from the Dancer. Ciphers are looking okay right now. There's definitely a lot of progress on the board, but they do need to be completed, obviously. But Psychologist, it does look like Psychologist has found a cipher that was already being decoded, as well as, I believe it was also the cipher that she started. Yep, there we go. That is going to be popped. And Dancer on second share here. Flywheel is up in about 40-ish seconds. So if we go for the rescue, but I don't think there's going to be enough time unless Coordinator is looking to go for it. Looks like trying to bait out that gun. Unfortunately, Kakaka not quite able to dodge it. Are we going to be able to make it to that chair in time, though, here from Namako? It's going to be very close, but I do believe, yep, we are able to make that just in time. Namako taking a hit as well. We've got 3 ciphers remaining, and we are a little bit behind on that final cipher. That final cipher really hasn't been started yet, but 2 ciphers looking very good here. Definitely a draw situation, and oh, that hit just connecting through. The pallet's done. So a little bit unfortunate there, but with 2 ciphers remaining here, almost at 1 cipher remaining, this is definitely looking like a draw situation for AWG survivors, which is very well played here. Forcing that target switch in the early game, I feel like it kind of, a draw situation is a draw situation. But heading for the pallet's done as well. We're back on Psychologist here. And yeah, just forced into a corner there. She did have to take the hit in order to avoid that Terror Shock, which is very smart, not going for the vault, not risking the Terror Shock at all, just forcing the basic hit. Unfortunately, not quite able to use that pallet as defense. We're actually going to start a second final cipher here. First final cipher is going on at about 40%. Other one has just been started, barely passing 10% here. One of these survivors is going to need to go and rescue. Let's say that will be the Mercenary, likely. Yep, Mercenary is coming in for the rescue. Unfortunately, he was at that 44% cipher, so that's just the way the cookie crumbles, honestly. But Mercenary going to go ahead, drop those pallets. Nicely done with the elbow pad, just get a little bit closer to the chair. And, ooh, very close there. That was, that was a hit on the Mercenary. Nearly a chair hit, and it looks like we are just going to try and get that double hit on Mercenary here. A little bit risky to waste time, though, because Psychologist is able to get a lot of distance right now. But we are going to get that double hit on the Mercenary. Do we know where Psychologist went is the real question. Doesn't matter. Looks like we're just going to go ahead and teleport over to Coordinator, who has already used her gun. Nothing to work with here, and is just going to go straight down. Unfortunately, didn't finish healing herself before Kakaka teleported. I might actually have to go back and watch that, because the syringe was half empty. Anyway. Yeah, back to the reception here. We're going to go ahead and share the Mercenary. And Batoru is just the only one left up here. And nothing really that he can do in this situation. I mean, you have 2 survivors shared. You really just have to try and sniff out Dungeon before the Hunter does, but Dungeon's over in Graveyard, very open area. Pretty sure Kakaka already knows exactly where, yeah, Kakaka definitely knows where that is. And with the survivor chaired at each cipher that's remaining, it's really not going to be... Yeah, this went from a tie to a 4-man elimination in just a matter of moments, really. That teleport just changed everything. I would say maybe not everything. Kakaka definitely had enough control over the map to continue drawing that out, but really just forcing the survivors into a corner. But oh, it looks like we have managed to rescue Namako. Kakaka's attention diverted enough to pull that off. Oh, not quite getting that hit through the pallet this time. But Coordinator is back on that cipher. I don't believe... Yeah, Psychologist can't make it to... Unless... Can she actually make it to Mercenary in time? The answer is going to be no, and that cipher is very, very nearly prime, but teleport is back up. It looks like we're actually not going to go ahead and teleport. Just opting to chair Psychologist instead, which honestly at that point, very good idea. That Cypher would have likely popped as the teleport came through. So, and it would have picked Psychologist right back up. But this is looking like a 4-man elimination. If we're able to find Namako here, are we going for the heal? It does look like Namako might be... Oh no, Namako's just hiding. No time to heal. And oh, very close there. But yeah, unfortunately, that is going to be a 4-man elimination, but very well played there from KKK. Really just keeping control of the map. Survivors, unfortunately, not able to regroup, not able to heal back up, and not able to extend that kite any further. So that's a 4-man elimination to start us off for AXIZ Wave. Let's head into the second half. All right, and heading into the second half of round 1 here, we've got Brontal coming out as the hunter for AWG. Recently returned after a couple of seasons off, or at least 1 season off for the summer. He was AWG's round 1 hunter during KOA, and just absolutely an incredible opera singer player. So I'm very excited to see Brontal back on AWG, and very excited to see what he's going to bring for us in this round 1. But for our first 2 bans here, we're going to see Coordinator as well as Seer. Definitely no surprise there. And Antiquarian and Prisoner are going to be our first 2 picks. I'm a bit surprised to see Prisoner this early, just because Brontal is very likely going to play Opera Singer, but Prisoner not bad against Opera Singer, definitely helps in those situations, such as last match where the Cyphers were being camped, being locked off. Prisoner can definitely help with that if he's still on the team. Those connections can be very, very helpful as well in overall team Cypher Rush. But it is, you know, on one hand, this does lock off Prisoner for future rounds if we end up seeing an Ivy. However, I don't believe AWG actually has an Ivy on their team, or at least a very practiced Ivy. But we will have to see what AWG is bringing out on their hunter side. But as it stands right now, our picks, we've got Mercenary as well as Fire Investigator joining the team, Antiquarian and Prisoner obviously as our first 2, and Balmer taken off the table as well, just trying to get as few escapes from AXIZ Wave as possible, because right now Brontal needs a 4-man elimination. There is really no other option here but a 4-man elimination if AWG wants to be able to push this into round 3 and go for the win. For Persona Webs, I would definitely expect to see kiting builds on obviously everybody except for the Mercenary. I would say maybe a double tide in this situation, like on Fire Investigator or something, but I would say Flywheel, Broken Windows is going to be on pretty much everybody else in this situation, because we are... Oh, okay, we are actually going to see an Ivy, not an Opera Singer. I did expect Opera Singer from Brontal. He is a very, very talented Opera Singer, but I'm excited to see his Ivy, because I don't think we've actually seen his Ivy, unless it was in AWG's previous match, which I haven't watched yet. But, yeah. Yeah, in terms of upload schedule as well, I am going to be doing, I would say, 1 selected match from every tournament day. If you guys want to see me do something else, let me know in the comments, or on Twitter or something. But yeah, for the sake of my sanity, I'm not going to be doing it. I wanted to do every match at first, but it's not realistic, and I realized that very quickly, because I'm, you know, self-editing is time-consuming. There's only so many hours of the day. But for our spawn picks here, it looks like we're kind of setting up for that cross formation, but Brontal opting to spawn in the corner here, right next to Fire Investigator. We've got Prisoner in the center, Antiquarian over in the graveyard walls, and Mercenary up at reception. I definitely think here that, I mean, you can go for pretty much anybody as a first chase. I would say Prisoner, Fire Investigator as well. Fire Investigator is really just annoying, especially on a map like Red Church, because he can block off the church, he can block off the shack. There's a lot of walls, a lot of areas where just the airbag is enough. It's more than enough to completely obstruct the area. It's pretty much a free pallet, so he's very versatile. And oh, we will be seeing that double tide here on Fire Investigator as well as Mercenary. So I guess I was right about a couple things. We've got broken windows on both the Fire Investigator and the Prisoner. And Mercenary and Antiquarian both have borrowed time. Mercenary obviously with Tide Turner. We've got Antiquarian and Prisoner with Flywheel. And for Brontal over on Opera Singer, my god, Ivy. For Brontal on Ivy, we have Blink, Insolence, Detention, very, very typical. But heading into the match, we are immediately going to get that Yith out, heading over towards Fire Investigator. We'll see if that Yith changes direction. Nope, we are going to commit to Fire Investigator, at the very least for this first Yithing. And we will see that go off, Yith detaching, and heading over to where Mercenary's decoding now. It's definitely very interesting to see Brontal not playing Opera Singer. I'm so used to him playing Opera Singer. Looks like Prisoner actually in the corner there trying to bait the Yith over near the basement. That's pretty much the only area. That is the only area on the map where you can try and trick the Yith, because if the Yith is leeched on an angle, it makes it a lot more difficult for the Hunter. But yeah, I would say that was a little bit of a waste of time though, because the Yith was not in that area. But Brontal unable to find a target yet. We're in the area of Antiquarian, but it looks like we're just trying to find that Prisoner. But heading over to Fire Investigator instead. We've got 70 stacks of corruption there. Nicely done with the airbag just to get a little bit more distance. 97. Oh, Fire Investigator getting a little bit caught there. Trying not to look behind, and unfortunately just not going to be the case. Going for the double hiss, but unfortunately not quite able to get that stacked up. Fire Investigator is going to take a hit though. Finally finding that Prisoner, getting the Yith on. But it looks like we're going to head for a sandwich here. Blink is online as well. We've got a lot of progress across the map here. Oh, actually, heading right back over for Prisoner. And that Blink is going to come into play. Prisoner taking the hit and immediately just going straight for the airbag. That's a really well-placed airbag. Very versatile, very good for both team support and Fire Investigator support. It's interesting that hasn't been broken yet, but it is, again, it's a waste of time to break those airbags, which is why Fire Investigator is just so valuable. But heading into the graveyard here, looking for a sandwich, not quite able to get it. Going to leech Prisoner again. There we go with the hisses and no flywheel in sight. Prisoner is going to go down, but that was a very, very long, that was almost 3 minutes into the match, and we have our first down. Now, ciphers are looking very slow as well, so it's only really a 2-cipher containment. But yeah, Axis Wave really looking to drag this out, really looking to, you know, push Brontal to his limits. Oh, nicely done with the rescue here while Brontal's distracted. We've got Mercenary caught out in the center here, but Fire Investigator is able to go for the backdoor rescue. Now, that does mean that Tide Turner has been a little bit wasted. Survivors can't heal up right away, but in the long run, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. Continuing the chase on Prisoner here. Cypher's still fairly slow, I would say, but we are kind of chugging along with them. And Prisoner is going to go down once again. Yeah, that flywheel being kind of disappointingly underutilized so far, at least. But Prisoner does have a second chair, so we will be seeing... Possibly we'll see that on the rebound kite. But 3 ciphers remaining here, almost 2 ciphers remaining. If we can get that last percent, that cipher's just going to sit primed here. But other ciphers are catching up now as well. We've got 60%, almost 90% on another one. So we're looking very good as Mercenary heads in for that rescue. Flywheel's still online as well from Prisoner, as well as a stun here But Prisoner does need to be careful. There we go. There's the flywheel just to get out of the area. We've got Fire Investigator as well coming through with the airbag. Unfortunately, not quite going to obstruct Ivy. Will we be able to get this body block? Unfortunately, no. That body block's not going to go through. And with Prisoner not having borrowed time, the Cypher, I would say, is just going to pop. Yep, Cypher is just going to go ahead and pop now. No survivors at either gate. It does look like Mercenary. Yep, Mercenary has found a gate, but so has the Yith, so that will be pressured off in just a moment. Brontal over at the reception gate, going to leave the Yith behind and likely teleport over. Yep, we are going to see that teleport go through. Breaking the connection as well is very smart here. Actually, no, because Prisoner's not alive anymore, so the connection can't be used. So that was a bit of a waste of time. Fire Investigator, again, at that 99% corruption. Towing the line here. And survivors have not quite been able to return to the gate just yet. We got a little bit of a tap, and then Neon leaving the area. Which is swapping back and forth, trying to camp both gates at once. And Mercenary is actually the one at the opposite gate, but it's been so long that he can be leeched again in just a moment. Actually, not Mercenary, my bad. That's Fire Investigator. No airbags remaining. These gates are just at a standstill here. At this point, only 17 seconds left in detention. All survivors at full health. They can just wait this out. They can just wait this out and try to... Yeah, it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. 3 seconds left in detention. 2, 1, and it is out. And they're still not even free to open the gate, because it's being camped so hard. This is the point in the game where you wish you're in duos and you have the crowbar. Just really a stalemate here in the end game. Unless we're able to start breaking these tablets too. The problem here is that Brontal can't commit to a target, because as soon as he commits to a target, those gates are opening. But... Oh! And he misses the blink! Finally starting to commit to a target there, but just not able to get even a hit in. That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. We've got Nyan somewhat in our sights. Oh, and able to tap the gate, but just immediately going to get leeched off there. Going for Tuna once again now. And that last airbag is going to be broken. Nyan heading for the gate. We've got Takako as well, just kind of tapping the gate and running. That's really all they can do at this point, is just tap and go. Oh, but with Brontal's attention, we've got Tuna on the gate once again, and he can't leech. He can't leech Mercenary and head back over, but 70%, 75. He does have to run though. But that was a very, very valuable, just like 5 seconds of time that the survivors were able to take advantage of and open that gate. Nyan back on the gate as well, but we are going to teleport over. Was the leech left? Was the Yith left on the other side? I don't think it was, and that gate is open. Reception exit gate is open, and the dungeon is in the area for Nyan. If we're able to make it out. I believe the dungeon was over here. Can't quite see it from Brontal's angle, but... We've got one hit in. Oh, but the dungeon's open! We still have staff here as well. That first stun is going to go through, and another 4 seconds of disarm, and there's nothing Brontal can do. That is a 3-man escape. And that was exactly AXIZ Wave's strategy going in, is just push as long as possible for that escape. That is absolutely incredible and very, very well played to get a very decisive point differential here in the first round. But heading into round 2, there's a lot for AWG to come back from in that first round.